Welcome, everyone. Another episode of Plastic Cards Podcast. I am Fonze. My name is Fonze. I'm joined by Gavin Jones, indie game dev extraordinaire. Gavin, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Let's talk about some games. Gavin, how's your weekend? Well, let's start with your weekend.
It was great. So we got to hang out on Saturday. That was a big long day. I'm still sore.
Yeah, from your run and then the drinking.
Yeah, and then Sunday I did absolutely jack shit.
It's God's day. You know what? That's what he.
Yeah, it is. So that was good, and I played video games that day. So
that's cool. What'd you play?
I played Steam World Quest.
I know of SteamWorld Dig. I haven't, but I imagine.
Yeah.
What is it? If you explain to me.
Well, it's so that developer makes a bunch of games in like that world.
Okay.
But they're different genres, with the exception of SteamWorld and SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2. I think are the only ones that are direct, like the same gameplay. And then they had like SteamWorld Heist, which was a side-scrolling, turn-based tactical game.
Well, okay.
Which was kind of neat.
With the same art style and stuff, I imagine.
Yeah, and this one is a card-based RPG, and they kind of claim it as like a deck builder. So my first thought was like, hey, it's going to be like Slay the Spire, but it's really not. It's really closer to like, it's really like if you took a collectible card game and mixed it with a shuffle building game.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically taking like Magic the Gathering.
You took the nerdiest thing and introduced another ultra nerdy thing.
Yeah. So this is like Magic the Gathering, or Pokemon meets Smash Up. So it's cool.
Yeah, we're looking at footage. It looks pretty sweet. Did you play on Switch?
Yeah, I played on Switch. I think that's because I looked to see if you could get it on PC.
Yeah.
And it looks like it comes out at the end of this month or next month or something like that.
Okay.
And I just wanted to play it.
Right.
And I'm really enjoying it. The story's not super great so far. But the gameplay is really, it's got some fun gameplay systems to it where you're trying to like chain cards in certain ways.
Ooh, okay.
So you're always, even if you don't have like the best cards in your hand currently, you're always presented with, a neat puzzle of how can you maximize what you're doing with your cards. And that's a lot of fun. So I'm liking it. And the art style is great. I mean, these guys just make great games.
I agree. And I like that art style a lot. That's what always catches my interest when I see either, SteamWorld Dig, and this is the first time I'm seeing Quest. But are you playing on like docked on your TV, or you just mobile, like walk around the house with it?
I'm doing a little bit of both, mostly docked though. I mean, it's really tough to tell which way is best for this game, but I'm leaning towards docked.
Gotcha. See, I wonder if you're doing like headphones and then just like into this, because we're not hearing the audio, so I'm not sure how the sound is, like the soundtrack and stuff. But
yeah, one thing I will say about it though, like as good as the game is, the soundtrack is like twice as good.
Really,
like the soundtrack is just above and beyond. Like it's almost out of place. It's so good.
I feel like a lot of these game devs now, like as far as like of course AAA, but like the indie caliber, they're always just knocking out of the park with the soundtrack, and like they're teaming up with whatever well-known people. Like they're always coming strong with the soundtrack.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's cool. And then last night I downloaded Rage 2.
Ooh, nice.
And I may have to return it. I'm not sure my computer can play it.
Interesting. My PS4 Pro can barely play it. So
right. So I mean, it's kind of weird because it's like I turned the settings all down to low, and it goes into slow motion rather than like frame rate dipping or whatever, which is annoying. So I had to stare straight at the ground if I want to move quickly.
Okay. Like because it can't load everything else, so it's just
less rendering, I guess. But even like, so everything's on low. The game looks like garbage and it runs like garbage, which is like I've played so many more games on Max.
Yeah,
they looks absolutely fucking gorgeous, and they run at 60 frames per second just fine. So what is this game doing that's so unoptimized?
Right,
and it has to be the graphics that are slowing it down. Otherwise, staring at the ground wouldn't work.
Interesting. Okay.
So
yeah, I'm too dumb to understand that part of it. Well, I know. So they have the open world aspect to it. Are they maybe not managing that the best, where they're constantly loading stuff they don't have to load, or something like that?
That's probably part of it.
Does it change when you go into the little hub cities at all?
I haven't got that far.
Gotcha.
It's really hard to get anywhere.
Right, but you're staring down at the floor. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too because you'd think that running in slow motion would make the fights easier, but it really doesn't.
Yeah, because you're still locked into reacting at the same time that whatever time frame is going on, so you can't like see them moving slow. You're also moving slow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
that's a bummer. Can you? So it would seem you have a window of time where you can return it.
Yeah, I think it's so many days, but more specifically, I think it's so many hours into the game. I want to say it's like 5 hours or something like that, or 8 hours maybe. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna try a few more things on the graphical settings, but yeah, man, too bad. I wanted to play it.
Yeah, for sure. I hope you can figure out some. But then you're tweaking everything to the point where you're diminishing all the other stuff. Where is it fun anymore? Like because it still runs on PS4 Pro. I was giving it shit for the hiccups and how kind of the frame rate dips and stuff, but really it does perform pretty well on PS4 Pro. But it's funny because my PS4 Pro is I've never heard it just blare so loud with the fan. Like it's really just trucking along, like it's trying to figure it out. But it does play. But
which is so weird too, because like even looking at a base example from like same developers is like you look at
Doom. Doom. Yeah, with Bethesda. Yeah.
The Doom re-release looked fucking gorgeous. I could run that game on max.
Really?
60 frames per second. But this, I don't know if it's a different engine. Maybe they're using the Just Cause engine.
That's where I wonder. They're merging, aspects of it. So I would love to figure out, how much are they leaning on the Bethesda Doom gunplay and then the actual open worldness of is it Avalanche, right? That's doing open world stuff. So. Yeah, and their stuff ran like I've played. I didn't play too much of the last Just Cause, but it seemed to run well. Although you're not super up close, so maybe they can lean on less high detailed textures and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So and then you're just like adding just systems on top of each other. I'm surprised it runs the way it does, at least on PS4 Pro, because they're trying to do a lot at once. Yeah. But I am playing. So I kind of changed my tune when I messaged you. I was like 4 hours in. Mm-hmm. I spent the weekend playing it, and I'm actually having a blast playing it. Good. It's still wonky. It still has a lot of issues, but it's still overall fun. Like the actual gunplay is fun.
The main thing I've heard about it is if you can collect all the power-ups, so you can do all the moves, that's when it's at its most fun. You're just You're a god bouncing around, slamming into the ground, dissolving people into a wall.
I haven't done that yet, but I can see how. Yeah, I can see that because I'm just building. I maybe have like 2 of those special moves, but I can see that when it works and you're just moving around the room, just taking out everybody, vaulting on stuff and doing combos with your abilities. Yeah, it's really, really fun. Yeah, and it's actually beautiful. Like when everything's loaded the correct way, it is super gorgeous. So like there's times where you're out because the time of day is always changing, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll just be on this like super foresty part of the map and the sun setting, and it just looks awesome. Mm. But other times it has issues just loading, faces the right way or like syncing audio. I had a crazy audio bug where it was kind of hard to play, but.
Although I will say, even on the lowest settings, looking straight down at the ground looks fucking gorgeous.
That's good. So 10 out of 10 for floor graphics in your viewable area.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. I just read, too, today that you can play, if you just like book it, you can beat the story in 2 hours. I'm jumping around. I'm not really just doing story or open world. Really? But apparently if you just go head first, you can... Which, I don't know, I can kind of see that because I'm not super interested in the story. I don't think they're really grabbing onto me there. Yeah. It's kind of generic, but everything else as far as the gunplay goes is keeping me around.
See, that's almost how I'd like a Fallout game to be.
I keep thinking about that.
Yeah, like give me a story that's like this deep and then just give me tons and tons of side quests that are like this deep. But I think a lot of people would be pissed off if that happened.
Possibly. So. Yeah. It's kind of funny. When I was playing, I was thinking of Fallout. It's almost like there's 2 different dimensions where with Fallout, they get the story, they knock it out of the park every time. Everything's so calibrated, but the gunplay is just kind of horrible. It's just manageable. With this, it's the other way around, where the gunplay is the main thing, but the story is just, craps out. But
that's exactly what I was thinking when playing it and kind of watching people playing. I'm like, this is just Fallout, but the bad parts are good and the good parts are bad.
Yep. It's just the upside down.
So, and it's got its own personality, which I appreciate. I do find it weird the spray painted ladders that let you know you can go up them. I'm like, well, this is
Yeah,
random.
and you have to lock into an animation to climb them, which isn't a big deal, but I'm used to like jumping on it and then latching. But yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of they almost took directly from the last the Far Cry games where those ledges that they want you to jump on have like the rope and stuff hanging off the edge. I've seen like literally the same thing just placed there where they want you to jump on it. Yeah. But and then there was bugs where like the AI would be in front of me but not shooting me, just kind of like waiting for me.
Well, maybe it's out of ammo.
I guess, but then I would kind of like engage it by getting close, maybe backing away, and then it'll start shooting and then just stops. So it's not consistent at all. But
well, I appreciate that you're playing fair.
Yeah, I wanted to give him a chance to actually, engage with me, but yeah. But
what have you been playing besides?
Just Rage. I did pop in on Friday for a game of Fortnite. I wanted to see some of the new map stuff because I'll play every once in a while, like with my nephew who's 8, and he really digs it. And every time I see him, he's the first thing he goes into whatever Fortnite changes have happened or like whatever conspiracy theories involving Fortnite that he's heard. Like he's deep into it. But so I'll kind of stick with it just so I know what to talk to him about. Yeah. But they did a John Wick crossover officially where they have John Wick. You can get him as a character. And they put his house in the game too, and there's like a special mode over the weekend where you could play, which neat. It was neat. I felt weird about though because it is a super R-rated movie, and Fortnite is a kid's property. Yeah. So it's kind of like I dig it, but also the old man part of me goes, this is maybe kind of weird, like out of place. But I don't know. It's no one made us think about it at all over the weekend that I could read, so everybody's fine with it.
That's definitely a good point though.
It's just a bit weird. Maybe it's just like they're kind of winking at the adults, almost like in a Pixar movie where they make a weird joke.
Yeah.
It just loses its connection, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Pixar John Wick. Yeah.
Yeah, just like where they're always like weird, some kind of a joke nodding to the adults that like we see you kind of thing. I wonder if the John Wick thing is that.
Does he have any special like weapons? Is there like a pistol that you hold at a 45-degree angle?
No, I think there is an AR that has like a special scope that isn't in the game, but they added to the game during that weekend for John Wick 2 or John Wick 3. But and then there's a special game mode, and then his character comes with like a damaged version and his regular version. But although his character is $20, so when I loaded it up, I was like, I want this, but I don't want to spend $20 on this. So I had a real like. I was like having a conversation with myself, like, do I need to buy this $20 digital action figure? I had to really like had to talk to myself about it. But
that's such a weird concept too. Like I remember when Riot Games did that when they came out with like a $20 skin, and I'm like, the actual fuck
for Overwatch.
For
did you do Overwatch?
League of Legends.
Oh, League of Legends. Yeah.
And it's like,
was it one character?
Huh?
Was it one character?
It was one character. So, but at least they had cool, like they had alternate animations for stuff. They had some more effects, and like some of their $20 skins are really cool. Like there's one character you can change stances. Okay. So they made it so every stance has its own model.
Gotcha.
But God, $20 for a skin.
It's rough.
Is a lot.
Yeah, there's some kind of sweet spot I imagine where it's cheap enough where you'll jump in on a whim, but not too much where you're gonna think about it for a while.
Yeah, I could definitely see it if there was like a character that I was god tier at, and then it's just like let's throw down. I want people when they see me to go, this is either a rich kid with mom's credit card.
Yeah, that's how it is.
About to get my booties clapped.
That's how it is in that community where, at least just living through my nephew, where like he'll be in a lobby, he'll see these default characters, like you get your default skin. I think it's one of the female characters, and they kind of like have this weird like judgment that happens with all the other characters where they scan who has like whatever newest model that came out or like an OG one or just the default, and they kind of just like talk shit almost amongst each other. Like, oh, that guy just has a default thing, this guy spent whatever $30, like they can tell, and they kind of judge each other on it. It's very weird. But
which is kind of funny too, because for example, when I played Overwatch, I made it a point to never open a loot box. That was gonna be originally I was gonna get to 100, and then I was gonna open them all at once, so it was just gonna be one giant loot-gasm. But then I got to 100, and I'm like, now this is just what I'm doing. So, and it was interesting, kind of knowing that I enjoy that game for the gameplay. And not for the addictive built-in loop. So that was really nice.
That's cool. I mean, that's a testament to the actual gameplay then.
Yeah.
Like it's solid without the little loot boxes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Gavin. Some stuff happened over the week, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it did.
So no, I guess particular order. One of the bigger ones that's still a big announcement, but not a lot of info behind it is this thing with Sony and Microsoft. So I pulled up some of the details. Yeah. So they announced this partnership over developing a cloud gaming truce or some kind of platform that they're both working on. So in detail, I pulled up this Kotaku article. It's from Ethan Gatch. I'll just quickly go through it. Microsoft said today, this is last week, they will partner with Sony, its chief rival in gaming console space, on new cloud-based solutions for gaming experiences. So I'll step out of it. What does that sound to you when I explain that? New cloud-based solutions for gaming experiences.
I mean, I think really what just happened is Sony's cloud solutions weren't really up to snuff, and Microsoft's currently are.
Gotcha.
So they're saying, hey, we'll partner with you. You scratch our back here. And it sounded like Sony was going to scratch their back in another way in which I didn't understand.
Yeah, where would they help? Because right now, that's Microsoft's one kind of lead over Sony. Why would they in any way help them out? Like, what do they have any benefit to do that?
I don't know what Microsoft game plan is at this point. It seems, it's very mixed messagey what they're doing. It's cool that they're being cool about a bunch of shit.
That's a positive thing. It's just hasn't happened really before. Even with PlayStation not letting like crossplay happen with like Fortnite and other games, and then just reluctantly bending. This seems out of place, but they do go on a little bit more. So under the memorandum of understanding signed by the parties, the two companies will explore joint development of future cloud solutions in Microsoft Azure to support their respective game and content streaming services, Microsoft said in its press release. In addition, the two companies will explore the use of current Microsoft Azure data center-based solutions for Sony's game and content streaming services. Or whatever that means. So I wonder, they're beefing up, or they're working on the next these next consoles, really focusing on streaming, right? And so whether it's like streaming one for one right when you're playing, and a lot of people are kind of bringing out how is this them gearing up to compete with Stadia?
I think so.
So then they really must take them pretty seriously with the fact that, interesting. And they would know hardware, there were no streaming, so they would see Stadia's announcement and say, oh, they could do that. Like but when everyone else, as far as like pundits and stuff talking about it, like they were very skeptical, but it seems like Sony and Microsoft are going, oh shit, we need to do something.
That would be, it definitely would be interesting to see that sort of happen for the next generation. Like Stadia comes out and then Sony, Microsoft band together. And they're like, we've been doing this console game since before, Google was a thing. So, well, except for Microsoft, but Sony has.
Right.
So yeah, it's sort of neat. I hope something good comes out of it, but yeah, it's really hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
I think they're purposely kind of just giving you the general idea without the details. Yeah. And I think they're giving us, they're releasing these press releases with very little detail, so much so that their own people are not understanding what's going on too. So here was an update to that story. So apparently the PlayStation team didn't realize what was going on. This is an article also from Kotaku by Luke Plunkett. So Microsoft and Sony's cloud gaming collaboration caught the PlayStation team by surprise. So this is according to a Bloomberg report on the partnership, which cites people familiar with the matter. The early stages of the deal began last year and were handled directly by Sony senior management in Tokyo, largely without the involvement of the PlayStation unit. This means that when the collaboration was announced last week, most of Sony's own console gaming team would have been hearing about it the same time as you or I. Understanding this freaked out some folks. The report claiming managers had to calm workers and assure them that plans for the company's next generation console weren't affected. So they really now is that them just trying to be secretive so nothing leaks, or leaks in the way that they can't control the message, or are they really not talking to all their different?
I think it was the first one. I think they were trying to control the leaks because leaks are so rampant.
Yep.
So they picked people they could trust. They handled this. I mean, I personally, if I was in their position, wouldn't be worried about people getting freaked out over like the next generation, because I mean, it's not going to affect it that much.
No, it must not if they're not really telling them what's going on. It must be them really on the just future-proofing stuff and building some kind of platform where they can stream stuff, and then that eventually will take hold and not affect PS5, Xbox, whatever the next one is.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. But honestly, with them, I think it's good to see though their commitment with keeping the consoles, like, have the streaming as an option, but being able to keep the consoles available, because not only is it people out in the middle of nowhere, but a huge one is, like, you look at military people, when they're out with nothing to do for hours at a time, they play shit tons of video games.
I imagine.
So they can't do that with Stadia. Stadia is just not an option.
Right.
So, and that shit's going to be spying on you. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Cause they're really set up to both provide like an actual hardware option and then also a streaming option at the same time, which Stadia is only streaming. Yeah. But no, it is going to be interesting, and that is good. I hope that them working together also trickles down into other things. We can get more cross-play, between different games. We can, the more they're working together, the better.
This could mean, though, for sure, like, so there's the rumor of Microsoft being able to, cloud stream games onto the Switch as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like this either semi-confirms that, and they're going to allow it on all the platforms, or it's entirely possible that people assumed it was the Switch because they heard, like, oh, they're going to allow for streaming onto another console, and people were like, well, it's not going to be the PlayStation.
So maybe they tricked your ass.
I got them.
Wow. So. Although, I mean, if they do that, it just seems like there's no incentive, or there's less incentive, rather, for people to go with Xbox, right, to buy their next Xbox console.
As long as they're absolutely, there's no,
I guess, just excluding their exclusives. But then why would you? I don't know. It gets weird when you start breaking it down.
Yeah,
but,
I'd definitely get a PlayStation whatever if I can still play my Xbox games on the thing. I'd prefer to just play it on my Switch and have my
just stream whatever.
Yeah, and have my PC. But and we'll see now with Rage, and I can't play the shit. I can still. I even have that problem too with Division, where it's just like I can play it 99% of the time, and then occasionally, if there's too much shit on the screen, it's like
yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah, it'd be interesting. But man, I would be really curious to see how they would make that work if you could stream Microsoft games on
PS4
Sony
or PlayStation
and Switch. Like,
yeah, it gets weird because they'd have to be. They want to move hardware, right? But they also want to sell their software at the same time. So I guess they have to trade off. Does this mean we can sell more software if we end up on everyone's platform, and we're still going to sell hardware at some kind of base level anyways? So maybe they just try and just sell the most that they can.
What if this was their transition out of the hardware game? Because the hardware game is expensive. Most consoles are taking a loss when you're buying that box. So what if they're just like, why the fuck are we wasting money?
That's true, and that's interesting. I feel like that could become more likely if the next iteration of Xbox does kind of do the same numbers. Then I see them feeling the pressure to go, okay, we have to figure something out. But I feel like they're still in the way where they can like bounce back, because they're like Sony was with the last generation, where PS3 really floundered, but then they came back with PS4. I feel like they're getting geared up to do the same thing. But you're right. I wonder if they're laying the groundwork. But it's really too early to tell, and we'll see what they do because it's not a lot of information out. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird time. Yeah. This was an interesting one that I found over the week. So Capcom has multiple titles in development using the RE2 graphics engine. This is from Games Radar. Yeah. So, and I really like that engine. I don't know the details of it, but the games are able to get that use that are just beautiful and run really well. Like they had the RE2 remake. Is it Devil May Cry 5 was also on that one?
It looked so Devil May Cry. It was insane. I think it's a weird engine though to put that much weight behind, because when it looks good, it looks great. But when it looks bad, you're looking at a face. Gotcha. So if they can improve their face tech, I will have 100% no complaints. But those chiclet teeth freak me out. And just the kind of faces as a whole. But really, like, that's the only weak link in that entire engine. And we don't know. The other thing, though, we don't know the extent of what you can do with it. Like, can you do like a big open world game with it? Probably not. I mean, we have only seen, I think it's just those two titles so far. But we haven't seen it really push to its limit, but maybe. Yeah. I would love to know the advantages of it. Right. So what is the advantage of that engine over Unreal besides the fact that they don't have to pay for licensing it? Gotcha. Yeah. So there were some details in this. So this is from Games Radar. Aaron Garsh writes,
Capcom fans rejoice. The Japanese powerhouse said they have numerous games in development using their RE engine. The games were, this is a quote, the games were developed using the RE engine during this current hardware generation have received critical acclaim. And from early stages of building this engine, we kept the ability to augment it for next generation development in mind, Capcom said in a Q&A following the financial briefing. As such, we view the RE engine as one of our strengths that will contribute to the next generation game creation. I could easily see that that engine continuing on because it looks, just high fidelity, like really good as far as the graphics go, the performance. So I could see it, shining in the next generation, no problem.
Yeah. And the other thing about it too is like, unlike with the Frostbite engine and stuff, like I get the feeling that this engine was designed to be a multi-game sort of engine, whereas Frostbite, when it first came out, that was to make Battlefield. That was not to make other games.
Right, and they had issues with Anthem
and a lot of other games. Mass Effect,
okay,
they just saw the thing was pretty and they're like, oh, we'll make all our games with that. So hopefully that's not the case here.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a good solid engine, but Capcom's been around for fucking ever.
Yeah.
So if this thing isn't saving them money,
right,
like I don't know what is. So,
but does that mean that they are more inclined to hold on to it because it saves them money and maybe it can't? We will see its first title not perform that great because they're trying to use it for something that it really can't handle doing. I wonder.
We'll find out, but it runs fast. It looks great, except for faces.
Yeah,
and
that could be. I wonder if it's just their motion capture stuff. If that's not up to snuff.
I think I think the facial animations look good. It's just the way it kind of looks bugs me. But
gotcha.
I would love to hear from devs who've worked on it.
Right. So right. Same here.
That's when we'll find out.
There's an interesting video I watched over the weekend. It's super duper nerdy, but it's right up your alley. I really liked it. So it was from GDC a couple months ago, and it was the Insomniac team talking about Spider-Man on PS4, and it's an hour long. They talked to one of the head developers there, dealing with performance issues and then fitting everything onto the disc, and the way they had to balance just the space they had on the disc, minimizing everything and getting it to run. They actually had a lot of processing power, but very little space on the disc. And so they had to manage how do we render stuff in real time rather than save it on the disc and that's where my knowledge breaks down. But they have the realities of a disc being read and the whatever that little device is scanning back and forth, taking time. What can we have the game render right now and not have to search for? But it's super awesome and it's very nerdy, but they go into hard detail and it's actually really interesting. But I'll send you a link. It's very cool. It was one of their GDC talks, but yeah,
I'd have to look into that. I know they did some cool things too with the tech for rendering inside a building.
Oh, okay.
So I forget there's an article on it that shows when you look inside a room and it looks 3D, it's actually a flat wall and there's a weird. There was this guy in Gamasutra that wrote a paper on, and he's like, hey, this was actually my college thesis on how to do that. And by the way, if you guys happen to take my tech for your game, I think that's super duper cool.
Nice.
So he's like, he couldn't confirm whether they did or not because there's no way to know.
I see. And you're talking about the windows peering into rooms and them actually looking like rooms are rendered, but it's just like a illusion.
It's 2 polygons.
Gotcha.
That's all that is, which is crazy impressive.
Yeah.
And realistically, probably not somewhere they needed. I mean, maybe it saves them time with culling, I guess, but
I don't know what culling is.
It's where, let's say, so you got this 3D object here, and you got this 3D object. So you're you, and this is here. So you can't see this mouse from where you are.
Okay.
So you wouldn't even draw this.
Oh, gotcha.
So if I go out here, you start drawing it, but it's back here, you stop drawing it.
Okay.
So stuff like that
to save kind of whatever performance power or something like that.
Yeah, and they go to crazy levels to cull out all this stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll
and that's why I stare at the ground when I'm playing Rage because you're not drawing shit.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Another funny thing with that game is going into the menu lags.
Really?
Just kind of going through the blades back and forth. Yeah, there's a hard lag on just going back and forth. So I don't know what they're loading and how it's really cumbersome, but yeah.
Sometimes that's because they're running. There's this piece of tech. I forget what it's called, but it allows you to render Flash, like Adobe Flash, as your menus. And that's why tons of games were using that, but it was very performance intensive. It was very poorly optimized. but yeah.
Gotcha.
So maybe that.
Yeah, I could kind of see where it lags, just in the sense that because you're going through these different blades or menus rather, and then you have an ability you can select. There's like animation videos that are in each breakdown that are already loaded. So it's I wonder if it's like loading that they're always there kind of thing, and not like called up when it needs to be called up.
That could definitely be.
But I'm pretty smart, Gavin. I know how games are made. And
just gotta get a solid state drive in your.
Yeah, that fixes everything.
Your PlayStation Xbox.
Yikes. Another funny thing with that, or interesting thing with that Insomniac GDC talk, was them having to, the realities of having to like have a baseline hardware or hard drive that they're developing for. So with the PS4, you can put whatever hard drive you want in there. There's a stock one, but you can also, soup it up and do like an SD. But they had to just develop for this like baseline super old hard drive, and like how slow it is to read, and slow compared to like 8 years ago when that thing released or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, like the realities of like having this baseline that's like the base level potato that they have to develop for, and then somewhere in between with what like the PS4 Pro can do. But yeah, it's a lot of like just developing's hard, right? So there's a lot of stuff they have to do that you don't see.
Yeah. Well, an open world definitely makes it difficult.
Right.
Because having to, it's impressive.
For sure. And they're just geniuses over there. Like that talk was really cool. So let's see what else we got going on, Gavin. There was a Minecraft Earth game announced. I don't know if you got to see any of that.
That's like a Pokemon Go kind of.
That's basically it. Yeah. It's their response or their entry into this like Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Girl.
Which I wouldn't mind playing. So it's Minecraft Earth. So I pulled up the article from Engadget. This is Devindra.
She puts the
Ardour.
charm in Charmander.
That's good.
I don't know what that was.
So Minecraft Earth is a free-to-play version of one of the most popular games ever made, rebuilt around augmented reality for the iPhone and Android. Similar to Pokemon Go, which popularized AR gaming in a massive way, it relies on your smartphone as a window into a virtual world. So yeah, there's a trailer that doesn't show off a whole lot, just gives you an idea. There you can see like the little Minecraft characters walking around the street, and they're superimposed like a phone kind of rectangle to show that you can see them in real time. But yeah, you can like build and have other people in your world build as well. But like if we scan the table just by looking at it through our phones, you would see the structure we're making. And so depending on your phone, you could see like, and then you could add to it, you could destroy, but it's like taking chunks of Minecraft and plopping it in places and seeing it through your phone.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. And I imagine if they were able to, do this on the street, which it looks like they're trying to do. So it's like a environment kind of thing, just like Pokemon Go was, where you can walk around and see a cool building and edit that building, but then other people will see what you made.
I think it'd be fun if you can sort of take away from like build down into the earth, like cutting away pieces.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Like somebody like trips, like they think they're gonna fall into it, but they're not, because that's not how it works. Right.
That's the only issue with these AR games, as far as like using Google Street View and stuff like that, where people have to walk into the world, is that the world moves and there's cars and stuff, and so you gotta watch out. But I mean, if you're seeing it through your phone and you can still see danger, whatever that may be, okay. But that's tough to manage. But I imagine. I mean, what other property is the best suit for this kind of thing? Like Minecraft's huge, Pokemon's huge, so yeah, it's just going to be another gangbuster. Like it's going to do awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'll be really curious to see how it does. I don't know how big. Like I could give a shit about AR games.
Sure. Me too.
But I also really don't know how big that market is. I know absolutely nothing about that market.
Well, it's free to play, this one. But going off Pokemon Go, I mean, there was stuff you could buy. I think I booted it once, and then so I imagine they're making money off it somehow, right? Yeah. At least ad revenue, something like that. So, and it was a huge game. Everyone and their mom played it. So, yeah, if you can replicate that, you're good. But so I imagine there's a huge market for it because it's so broad that anyone can download it. It's free. Yeah. So I think that's their entry point.
There's going to be penises everywhere. That's just, you're going to go.
Could that be on the box art or whatever, or the quote? Look, there's going to be penises everywhere.
It's going to be a lot of dicks, okay?
Yeah, so that's it. There's a kind of a cool video they put out announcing the actual title. So there's a closed beta this summer for Minecraft Earth. So that's when we'll see more of it, which is very soon. So
interesting.
Yeah. So that was a kind of a cool little announcement. We got some news on Ubisoft. Do you go Ubisoft or Ubisoft?
Well, the correct pronunciation is Ubisoft, so I try and pronounce it Ubisoft. But sometimes just old habits.
Gotcha. I like Ubi.
Ubi. Yeah, Ubi's fun, but yeah, it's Ubi.
So we have some news with Ubisoft lately. So there was a financial report where they kind of not leaked, but they always, with these financial reports, that's where a lot of information comes out because they have to tell their investors, here's what we have lined up. And they have to kind of secretly tell them that they got some stuff going on. So we have this article from IGN. This is Adam Bankhurst. So let's see. The revealed via Ubisoft's 2018-2019 financial earnings report. We have some info on some new AAA titles. So I'm kind of paraphrasing here to get this. Yeah. So the company's 2019-2020 financial targets.
How many of these new titles start with Tom Clancy?
Right. That's where the guessing comes in. So there's 3 confirmed AAA titles that are going to release from now until March 2020. What those 3 titles are, we don't know.
It's not a big time span.
No, that's what, a year from now?
March 20. Oh, I guess it's a little bigger than I thought, but still, it's not unannounced.
For 3, yeah, unannounced. So now here's where the guesswork comes into play, right? So figuring out what the other 3 AAA titles are will be the new gripping, because there's Ghost Recon. That's the one confirmed. But
that one is confirmed. Okay, yeah. I didn't know whether that counts. So Ghost Recon.
So the new gripping question is, we know Assassin's Creed is taking a year off. Apparently that's confirmed. And we had some I'm still reading the article. We had some small hope yesterday that a new Splinter Cell was in development, but it turned out it was just a Ubisoft dev joking around. This
That's such a dumb joke.
Yeah, so it's a bummer, and it kind of, in an hour or two, whatever, it just, lit up the internet where everyone's freaking out. But it was also a very weird way to announce a game of this caliber, if it was. Yeah. So it was just a tweet from...
I could see Kojima doing that, and I think the internet would go fucking nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just with the company that big behind you, like they have their whole marketing spiel, and like they time everything out, so they wouldn't just release it the way they did. But there was a Ubisoft tweet from a head director there saying, that they're working on Splinter Cell, and he tagged these other game devs within Ubisoft, and it turns out it wasn't legit. Yeah. But he even changed his main little image icon on Twitter to the little goggles. Yeah. So, nothing's... It was Julian Garrity, who's the creative director of Division 2.
What a fun name to say.
Julian Garrity? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that guy's fun to party with.
That's one of the theories, too. So he tweeted that image. It was a picture of him and those top three Ubisoft game directors. Yeah. They're thinking they're at some kind of summit meeting, and maybe they're a little tipsy. And so he's like, yeah, fuck it, we're making Splinter Cell, 5 or whatever.
With the crew.
Yeah. As a joke, because he's like not all there at the moment, and it ended up just, as it would. That's something you expect the internet to freak out about.
No.
What was the last Splinter Cell game you played?
When they sort of relaunched the series with the really cool like environmental HUD and stuff, where it like have text on the wall and stuff.
I don't remember that, but I know there was one.
Blacklist, but I'm not sure. Right. I really enjoyed that for as far as I could get. It got... Some of those environmental puzzles were pretty tough. Okay. There was like a 3-story, 4-story, maybe it was a 5-story puzzle that I was really stuck on.
Whoa.
But I really like that combination of action and puzzles and dynamic gameplay. Such a cool series.
I feel like there was more... there was levels where you had actual crowded environments that you had to blend into and kind of function with.
Oh,
Am I wrong about that? I feel like I remember a gameplay walkthrough of like an actual... almost Assassin's Creed-esque, where you have like it was like like that, where there was like a carnival. There was some kind of heavily crowded area where you had to also maneuver through that.
Maybe. Whoa,
this looks way actiony. So we're looking at
holy shit.
Yeah,
that tire came through the screen.
But it's been a while, so I'm totally down for this. So
it's time.
Yeah, the last one was 2013.
Yeah, I hope they don't restart the series though.
You think? Would you like the original voice actor? Is it something Irons? I feel like his name was
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, something like that. But I would love. I wouldn't mind a reboot, kind of bringing it back. But I don't think that necessarily for me. They don't have to like continue on the story.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's see. What else has Tom Clancy on it? Why not? Why don't we get a Jack Reacher or something? Whenever that's Tom Clancy, right?
Yeah. Good question. I think it is Jack Reach around.
Tom Clancy's It.
Jack Reacher.
Man, that'd be great if they started going. Stephen King.
Well, he's really not. Yeah, he hasn't been tapped for any of his properties. I feel like. You know what? There was a random. No, that's not Stephen King.
It was dark.
Let's see.
Tom Cruise.
Scanning through. So there's the movie that they did. I feel like they would have mentioned if it was a Tom Clancy property or not.
Oh, did you see that NES like demake of a John Wick game?
No, that sounds awesome though.
It's okay. It was pretty. I think if I were a kid and I saw it, I'd be like.
John Wick Reimagined as an NES game is perfect.
I don't know about perfect. It's visually it's pretty good, but at the same time, the gameplay looks pretty boring.
It's very like Streets of Rage or
Contra-ish.
Right.
Well, it's made by a dev who's making like a hardcore Contra style game that looks super kick ass.
Oh, okay.
So I imagine it was made using the same engine and stuff, and they just pumped this out super quick. But yeah, a lot of just ducking.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
It looks cool. Yeah, we're looking at footage of it. I like it's just like a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope though. Really, I'm excited for that John Wick Hex, I want to say it's called.
Oh yeah.
Or because John Wick is a perfect like video game movie, but
it's totally a video game.
Right. So it's just a matter of he gets hurt, but like he's always just like pinpoint shots. So I like how they're taking that route of you get to be in his mind and plan the route, and then when you successfully do it, you see, I imagine, the end result of you just like perfectly taking everyone out.
That's what I wish. Well, I guess I never really played the final version of Super Hot, so I don't know if it has a fast motion mode where you can see the whole thing in real time. But I think
Katana Zero did that too, actually.
Katana Zero did that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you'd have like your surveillance footage aspect.
Yeah, everything is like a planning phase until you finally succeed, and then it's like, oh, that's how it goes.
Yeah, and it plays like the surveillance footage of you going through and perfectly killing everyone in the room when really you were trying a bunch of times.
So you do that with like Super Hot or a game like that where it's got like multiple camera angles and it looks like a badass movie. I think that'd be super awesome, and I hope they do it.
Which, I forgot, I didn't pull that up actually, but as we're talking about video game movies, there was news on a Mortal Kombat movie officially, they're officially starting production on it.
Question. I think that's going to be such an interesting one because it's like, is it going to be better than the original?
Well, I wonder, they've had 20 years now to think on that and do some kind of unique, take on it now. And do they go the ultra violence version of the game, or do they go more campy like the original movies? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Do they strike a balance?
Mortal Kombat reboot.
So I am pulling up this.
Downloading a virus first.
No, I was turning off ad blocker. That's what I was doing. Yeah, so I just wanted to pull up
virus to yes.
Yeah, that's how you initiate.
I'd be interested in the cast. Like, can we get Dwayne Johnson as Jax?
Man, he's too big for that. Come on. Unless it's about Jax and it's the Jax movie.
The Jax movie.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind.
It'd be interesting. I'd hope for is it Charlize Theron who played Atomic Blonde?
Yeah, Charlize Theron.
I would fucking love for her to play Sonya.
Whoa. Yeah, that'd be dope.
We could just get the original Liu Kang to play Liu Kang.
I feel like he's aged well, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you get
as
Jax.
My only thing is I don't want a CGI Goro. I want him like how he was in that original movie where they get it's actual prosthetic. It's actual like practical effects. Yep.
Yeah. So no CGI Goro.
I do want a female Goro. I want to see that.
Shiva?
Yeah, Shiva.
Yeah, I think that was her name.
But yeah, we'll see. So it's set for 2021, March 5th, 2021.
Wait, exact date, huh?
Yeah.
I expect that to change.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. A lot of times these studios will like set their whole like quota in the future, but yeah.
It's a solid goal.
So we'll see. I don't think any cast information has been announced. This is May 20th, which is today. So, yeah.
Can we get a Jason Statham as
who would he? Kano, exactly. Yeah, that's perfect.
He could play a skeevy skeeve.
Can you get Jason Momoa in there somewhere?
Jason Momoa?
Yeah, just as Jason Momoa, maybe.
Honestly, he'd probably make a better Kano, but I don't know if he can do an accent. I actually, what I'd really like is the guy that plays like Bullet Tooth Tony from was it Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels?
I can visualize that, yeah.
To play Kano, because he's really, when he wants to play skeevy.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's exactly what I think of that guy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think he could nail that.
What about Jason Momoa as like that Kodokan or that one Aztec guy?
Ooh, that could be cool.
Yeah, just because they don't have any kind of, because what is Jason Momoa? He's like, he has his heritage. It's like, is it Samoan, I want to say, or it's like Hawaii?
Is he actually, or is he just like does he just kind of have that last name? He totally could
I thought
be.
He was like Pacific Islander, or he has that lineage or something, but there's no character like that. That's like the closest one I can think of. But.
I think, what's his name? Something Khan. Not Kotal Khan, but...
there's the one dude with the skull.
Yeah, the
face.
original kind of bad guy. Oh, yeah. I wasn't thinking of Jason Momoa. I was thinking of... I don't know where he...
Jason Samoses?
I was thinking the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. The UFC fighter guy.
Yeah. Poop. Forget his name. It's Drax is the character, right?
Yeah. I was thinking of him. I think he could play whatever Khan. God damn it, what's his name?
Dave Bautista. There we go.
Yeah, Dave Bautista could play Shao Kahn. I think he could knock Shao Kahn.
Interesting.
He's got the deep voice.
Right.
You throw some fangs in there, put a skull mask on him. He's buff enough. I think like he looks undefeatable as a person.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa, I don't know who you'd throw him to.
I don't know. He'd have to be. I mean, he's really charismatic. Like he could just.
Yeah.
He could be anybody really, but yeah.
The ultimate question though is, and he's clearly the main character of the games. Mm-hmm. Who's going to play Johnny Cage?
Well, he's in every property, so it's maybe you can't do it anymore. But the guy plays Deadpool. I feel like he could be that's basically like the Deadpool, like the third or the breaking the fourth wall kind of character.
Yeah, he could probably do it. I just I want to cast somebody else mentally,
right?
But
You
I
want
don't
lesser known people.
Who it would be?
I did see someone photoshopped Terry Crews as Jax. This was like, I think for the last release, someone did that, and he was like, "I'm on board." And
I feel like that's too obvious.
Maybe.
No. He's also possibly like too buff.
What?
Because Jax is like, he's buff, but he's also like it's.
I feel like he's more stocky, and then Terry Crews is maybe more lean muscle, but I don't know. I'd have to see there. Both bodies glistening together, and like so I can compare them on my own time secretly. Yes.
Damn it! Who? Johnny Cage? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, he's a tough one to crack.
You gotta get it perfect.
Or like, you have Sub-Zero, you have the electrical dude. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Raiden.
Raiden, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you could almost do for Johnny Cage is the guy who played Kick-Ass.
Oh,
grew up to be a fucking hunk.
Yeah, he was in one of the last
Godzilla.
The last Godzilla. Yep.
Yeah, and I couldn't even tell it was him. So he could maybe pull it off.
Yep, sure.
So
yes, I'm wondering. I guess it depends on like their budget and the director, but are they going to seek out these kind of, somewhat under the radar as far as like the not top notch actor or celebrities rather, but how do they fill that cast? And they could really make something cool. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. But so we'll see when they announce more on that Mortal Kombat movie. What else we got? We got Ubisoft announcing some AAA titles that they're working on until the next March 2020. We have some news on Last of Us 2. I'm just a huge Last of Us fan. Sure. So the news in the sense that they're reaching the end of development. So they've actually...
Holy shit, really?
They're, not exactly, but as I say that. So let me go word for word so I don't screw this up. So we have IGN. Colin Stevens wrote, Last of Us 2 entering final stages of development is what I meant. So while it's still unclear how far away The Last of Us 2 will release is, the game's co-director has indicated Naughty Dog is hiring new talent to help close out its development. There's a Twitter post where they're looking for new animators and whatnot. So the positions highlighted in the post include animators, programmers, game designers, lighting and visual effects artists, and more. These positions have been open as of May 10th. The most recent update we had on the game's development was that performance capture had been completed for Ellie and Joel, and the final scene of the game had been shot. If new talent is coming in, that likely means there's still quite a bit of work left on the game.
Yeah.
But this is in the later stages of development. That means the team has certainly completed much of the game's production. This could mean the game is coming later in 2019 or still a year or more away. But at least
it's not coming in 2019.
No,
There's no way in hell.
No. Yeah, I would say 2020 alongside with whatever PS5 announcement. Yeah. A lot of my gauge for what Sony's doing with the release of PS5 was banking on them coming back to E3 like next year, because I know they're skipping this one. Yeah. But apparently, as I've read into it, they're really trying to, it wasn't just them skipping this year. They're actually just pulling away from E3 in general and focusing on their own announcements.
As well.
So I don't know where that puts them as far as when they announce PS5, when The Last of Us comes into play. But I would say 2020 is fair, right? We still have a year and a half away from...
Even early 2020.
Yeah.
But that's... God damn, they're fast. They are fast.
Well, I wonder...
every single one of these titles...
Right. I mean, fast, maybe. But, they have the two aspects to their team. They split off.
Right.
I don't know exactly when they started production on Last of Us 2. But they had to deal with leaving Uncharted 4 and then having that one side DLC being developed. So that takes time from the team. So now their team everyone's on board now for the past at least year and a half, 2 years. But it's still, that's going to be a huge game. They're going to take their time. There's a lot to make there.
Yeah.
But I'm confident with a 2020 at some point.
Yeah.
But do they hold on to this or try and get this with PS5 as a launch title, or do they let this go a little bit further?
They have... I think it's going to be this console. I think this generation, but...
Well, I think it'll be backwards compatible, right? They'll do a PS4,
absolutely.
PS5 version. Gotcha.
Yeah. They probably already got the graphics set up, and that's why they're probably part of the reason why they're hiring these people. It's all right, we kind of know. Let's get it all done in one shot, maybe.
Interesting.
But hell yeah, dude. That's awesome.
I'm stoked. Yep. I cannot wait for that. So let's see. We're talking about E3, PS4 skipping E3, or PlayStation rather. So we have Netflix with the E3 2019. They're hosting their own panel.
Who's?
Netflix is.
At E3?
Yeah, at E3. Yep. So
we're getting more Bumble Snatch.
Right. So this is them actually taking their properties and developing games out of them.
Oh, fuck yeah. Well, they did that with what's it was called? Stranger Things. They had the Stranger Things mobile game.
Yep.
I expect a lot of mobile games out of this.
I imagine it's going to be light stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this is from IGN. Janet Garcia writes, Netflix will host a panel at E3 this year called Bringing Your Favorite Shows to Life, Developing Netflix Originals into Video Games. The company said the panel will consist of game developers and show creators who are feeding fan passion by adapting Netflix original content into video games. And they go on to talk about how Stranger Things 3 will be there, but it's a panel. It's not like their own kind of press conference, but they're dipping their toes into it as how much money they'll put into it. I think they'll see how these games, these first foray into games go. But what's interesting, and that's further extrapolating this into the future, but with Stadia, that's a platform being built on streaming games. Netflix has the ability to stream movies. Is it impossible to say they could maybe put some money into that?
It'd be a shit ton of work.
It would be. Yeah.
Yeah. If they partner with Microsoft or if they partner with Stadia, maybe.
Interesting.
But they're going to need to partner with somebody who already has the
infrastructure
this
there.
This is different than just streaming out files, essentially.
Yeah, because you hit a button and it plays. You don't have to there's not one-for-one responses with these buttons that they have to account for. And
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that'll be neat.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that they're just straight up doing a panel.
Right.
So that'll be cool.
Yeah, they're going to talk about it, and I think talk about their commitment and, shine some light on that Stranger Things 3 game, which looked interesting. It looked like kind of a beat 'em up, like a NES or a Super Nintendo NES kind of beat 'em up, but yeah.
I expect a lot of, we'll get back to you on that. There's going to be a lot of that. So, but I hope people ask good questions, and I hope they can come with some answers.
Right. Yeah. So there's that. There's kind of early talkings or mentions of that happening. We have this was interesting. I found over the weekend too. So we had the Sonic movie shit show that was the trailer was announced and everyone freaked out, and they announced that they were going to redo that character or change it in some capacity. So Gizmodo talked to a couple of visual effects experts in the movie industry and talked about how hard is it to do? What are we looking at here?
Fuck.
Yeah. So apparently
it's gonna be hard.
It's a great interview. I recommend everyone read it. So it's by Beth Elderkin. So they go into detail and talk about how a lot of the times when a trailer is made, when the main character is CG, like say the last Pikachu or Detective Pikachu movie. A lot of times when they drop the trailer, those are the parts that are rendered for that movie. They focus on that first.
Yeah.
So the actual rest of the movie is still in development. So they still have the time to go in alter stuff because they've only just rendered or really focused on that trailer.
Yeah.
But it's still a huge overhaul to do. It's just it's kind of puts in perspective the fact that they have some time to work on it because they really just focus on that trailer and then they figure out the rest of the movie.
I hadn't thought about that. You know what?
Apparently, yeah.
That makes me feel not as bad about them having to remake as much. I mean, it still sucks, but
yeah. And they talk about how they're still going to crunch for sure, but it's not like we have to just throw the movie out and then redo it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's a good article, and they just kind of go into detail.
Huh.
Yep. Let's talk about Crunch, Gavin. We got Crunch Time as our new segment you can count on every week.
Break out your bowl of Captain Crunch.
Yes. So this was more of a positive note. So Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red talked about developing Cyberpunk 2077, and they said as it gets more intense towards the end goal, they're going to really focus on crunch and try to avoid that.
Right.
So
well, I like that everyone highlighted that they said they were going to try and be more humane, which is just like.
But it's a
that
general,
could mean almost nothing. Yeah. And
we give them water and food. What are you guys complaining
yeah.
about? They don't have cages.
CD Projekt Red is very notorious for crunch. Like it's bad there.
Yeah. Interesting.
So.
Yeah. So there's some quotes here from from CD Projekt Red. This is from Kotaku. Jason Schreier writes, this is an actual quote. We're known, let me be humble for a moment here. We're known for treating gamers with respect, said Marcin Iwinski, the company's co-founder, in an interview with Kotaku this week. This is what we've been working hard toward, and I actually would like us to also be known for treating developers with respect. They go into detail. We've been working toward it for some time already, Iwinski said. We've been communicating clearly to people that, of course, there are certain moments where we need to work harder, like I think their E3 demo is a pretty good example. But we want to be more humane and treat people with respect. If they need time to take off, they can take time off. Nobody will be frowned upon if this will be requested. So hopefully they stick by that. We will see. But it's a complex subject because it's like there is crunch. You do need to get everyone all hands on deck kind of thing to finish a game. But how do you also manage everyone's time and sanity but still reach these deadlines? Although I find that I imagine these companies or these developers like CD Projekt Red, they can really do what they want to do in some aspect, right?
Sort of. But I think the thing that kills me about them is like they make quadruple A games. Like the quality on these things is stupid.
Yeah,
good.
For sure. They're super deep.
With like a double A team.
Gotcha.
So yeah, how you make these games of that quality with such a small team without crunching, I don't know how you do it. So I don't know. I hope they're making enough money from these things that they can't expand.
Imagine, yeah. But
they're so critically acclaimed. I feel like this is something interesting with them. So remember how like BioWare, they were saying like the BioWare magic isn't really there. I feel like it's here.
Yeah.
Like this is the BioWare magic.
Yeah.
It's at CD Projekt Red and it is in full force.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't doubt it, and I would trust them to get it done. But yeah, and I think I would trust that they're also sensitive of the fact that they don't want to push everyone too hard, but they still have to get this product done. But I think with them, they have earned the right to like take more time with it or say, hey, we're going to push it further. And everyone will be, disappointed, but I think that's fair. Like we'd expect like, that game's nuts. Take some time.
Well, how many of us really expect this game to even come out this console generation? It's
Good
so
question.
Pretty. I don't see how you're packing that onto a PS4 or an Xbox One X.
I think they skip this generation for sure. I think that's fair to say.
So take your time. Hopefully, don't run out of money in the meantime. And if you do, just release what you have. I'll buy it.
Episode 1 of Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that would suck if they did it episodic.
With this game or with this dev with like Rockstar, I feel like some devs have earned the right to say, you know what, our next title, like we'll show you a trailer, but it's coming out and it's going to be $70, $80.
Sure.
Like, let's explore that realm to also use more money to buy more time or to get more people on board. I think with 2077, that's easily, worth more than $60 for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Even the last Red Dead, it's like you can. They have their packages now where there's like a gold, silver edition with DLC and stuff included.
Yeah.
But some kind of base level, I think explore extending that base level. We've had $60 titles for a long time.
I think the only problem is people are such babies. And they're gonna throw fits about it.
Well, I think they're babies, yeah, but there are certain titles where you can. I feel like across the board, you go like with CD Projekt Red. They say with Cyberpunk, it's going to be $100. You go, okay, yeah, that's 100%. Looks like it's worth.
Yeah, it's what they should be charging. It's what the industry as a whole should be charging for games now, but they can't because people won't buy them.
Right, and I'm up to mine
unless
too.
It's Madden.
Unless it's because they buy that every year. Yeah. I'm up to mines where I want them to explore that price, that window of what they charge per title, because these games are hard to make. They're really just like wearing down the people who are making them. I think they deserve for some of these titles to increase the price.
Yeah.
That being said, do I necessarily want to pay? Part of me doesn't want to, but I understand that if it's used correctly and these actual devs get the money, then that's a whole nother argument too. Does the publisher go, oh, cool, yoink, we're going to take that because we funded this game in the first place?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I want to make sure the money goes back to those devs somehow.
Yeah. It would suck though, because I can't afford that.
Right. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like $100. Okay, cool. That's going to suck.
Guess I'll watch the stream. I don't.
Yeah. So it's interesting. But I think they're avoiding, just the publishers in general, developers in general are avoiding increasing that baseline $60 price tag by exploring the silver, the platinum editions to a game and the DLC and the loot boxes and stuff. But but we'll see. So they're trying to avoid crunch. Good luck with that. So that was really it for crunch time that I had. But we talked about Borderlands before the show. So Borderlands 3.
We did?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was on the thing. But I was gonna reference back to that because we were talking before we started recording.
Oh, okay.
But Borderlands 3 pre-orders halted during Epic Games Store Mega Sale.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just calling back to that.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of games that also followed suit. So they started this whole thing over the weekend. So it was Mega Sale that Epic Games had, where 2 games initially pulled out. It was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which is a super long title.
That's too long of a title.
Yeah. And Oxygen Not Included. A third game has now been pulled out of the store.
Huh.
Yeah, which is the indie dev. They worked on
Mark of the Ninja, something Machete.
Well, there's that one, Don't Eat Alone or Stay Out Alive. Or
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve. There you go.
Yeah,
they
made a lot of kick-ass games.
Gotcha. So the third recently being Borderlands 3 being pulled.
Man, I wonder. I think it's time for them to make an announcement. I wonder what those guys are working on now.
Interesting. The Don't Starve guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird with them too. It's like, what game do you refer to them as? It's like, do you say Don't Starve?
I just think of Don't Starve, but
I think Don't Starve is probably their most popular, but I don't.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I know they've put out a lot of newer DLC. Like they've been working on that title, like just working on DLC. But so we have the developer, so Cly Entertainment.
Yeah. Clay? I forget. They've said how to pronounce it.
Gotcha.
It's not how it's spelled. Clee?
So as far as their actual next thing we're working on, as far as the Wikipedia says, they're working on something called Invisible Inc., a turn-based espionage game. Nope, that was released on May 2015.
What was it?
Invisible Inc.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently they worked on that in 2015.
Yeah.
But so I don't know what their official next title is.
That was them? For some reason, I thought... Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
So they're working in conjunction with another dev or something. So we have Don't Starve Together, 2016.
Oh, that's already out.
Gotcha. Oxygen Not Included, 2017. Grifflands, and then Hot Lava, TBA.
I will have to look that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So anyways, those games were pulled from the Epic Games Store, and it was really just drama about... letting Epic not communicating with publishers or devs, right, and having these sales and them not being included or letting them know that these are happening in the first place.
Yeah. Well, there was no way for them to opt out.
Gotcha.
So they were forced. Their game was forced to be on sale, and sometimes they have deals where they're like, and sometimes what people will do is they say this is the lowest selling point. So like, you can put my game on sale, but you can't go below this price.
Sure. Because
that provides an unfair advantage to some of our partners.
Gotcha.
Or stuff like that, or it sort of devalues your product. So some people thought it was weird that their game that just launched was already out on like a stupid sale, or some people actually adjusted their price so that it was the proper price during the sale.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's just a learning thing.
Well, like with Borderlands 3, so really just the pre-order was on that game sale, and that pre-order was removed, right? Yeah. So currently for PC, there's no way to pre-order until they put that back on.
Yep.
Which I understand you don't want to be part of that sale, but at the same time, now you have no way for someone to pre-order your game, and they really love pre-orders. So 2K did respond. So a spokesperson from 2K Games told Eurogamer that the halt of pre-orders for Borderlands 3 is temporary, and any purchases made with the sale prior to it being pulled will be honored. We're working closely with Epic and have temporarily removed Borderlands 3 from the storefront. We look forward to the game being back on the Epic Games Store soon. Games bought during their mega sale will be honored at that price. In response to the recent removal of games due to the sale, Epic Games said, if a developer or publisher chooses to not participate in our sales, we will honor that decision. Epic announced their store launched last December and became a popular topic of conversation due to their 88% revenue split with devs and not taking a cut from games made with the Unreal Engine.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Apparently. Huh. So, so maybe
they
not
just... not counting the cut that gets taken once you go past a certain amount anyway.
Oh, interesting.
Or if you pay for the engine, which most AAA developers are going to do. They're going to pay for the license per game. So they're already sort of taking their chunk. But it's still nice that they're willing to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're really exploring the options there with how they charge
It's definitely interesting. I like the fact that Epic is taking the hit. And again, it goes again to show that they are running a lean operation.
Yeah.
And, that's how they're going to fight Valve, and it's going to work.
Right. Already they're getting really, hardcore exclusives. So. Yeah, they're becoming a huge competitor with that. No. Yeah, hopefully they figure out the sale going forward where they ask beforehand with the devs if they're interested in...
Give them a warning or some
give them
stuff.
Heads up.
Yeah, like, that's not a huge deal if you leak your sale. Like, who cares?
Right. So there was a lot of news, Gavin. That was the bulk of it. There was a Doctor Who VR game. I don't know if you got to see this. There's not much to say. There's a really quick trailer they put out. Yeah. I like it's a neat idea, just going into the Doctor Who world and see all the different characters and stuff. Yeah. So the trailer shows off it's just the inside of the TARDIS, I want to say, an up close of a Dalek, and some people are kind of theorizing, okay, like playing with the Weeping Angels kind of aspect to it, and how they
creepy.
Just show up in your face. Yeah, so that could be
creepy.
But yeah.
Well, that would totally work because there are some VR headsets with eye tracking technology.
Oh.
I think. So if you can't track your eye, you're probably blinking. So.
Right.
Creepy.
So not for me because I hate these jump scare VR games. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's neat.
It's neat, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little neat thing.
Let's see what else.
This was interesting, and I don't understand a whole bunch about it, but Call of Duty had this shakeup that happened over the weekend that was announced. So Black Ops 5 is announced for 2020. So we just had Black Ops 4, which was had the blackout mode.
But that wasn't really a Black Ops game. I don't even know why they called it Black Ops.
I'm not sure. They needed a way to get everybody on board while they're developing this, response to Fortnite and the Battle Royale, game.
Yes.
But yeah, so they have changed the hands or changed who's working on the next Call of Duty. So I'll pull this article. I already have it pulled up. It's from Jason Schreier of Kotaku. So next year's Call of Duty has gone through a major upheaval as publisher Activision informed developers this week that studios Raven and Sledgehammer, which had until now led the project, will no longer be in charge. Instead, according to 3 people familiar with goings-on at the companies, Treyarch will lead development on a new Black Ops for 2020. Treyarch did the last Black Ops 4. So
that's weird that
they usually flip-flop, right? And now it's the first time.
Yeah, they cycle through the 3 so they can put them out.
Right.
To me, this means that the Call of Duty coming after this is going to be so big that it's taking both of those studios to
having a single player, right? Like getting that in there.
One's getting the full single player. One's just working on multiplayer and zombies. Like this, I predict after this one's going to be the biggest Call of Duty ever.
That'd be fair. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for 2020, Activision had originally switched things up, assigning the Wisconsin-based support studio Raven to take leadership role alongside Sledgehammer to make a Call of Duty game set during the Cold War, likely involving Vietnam. as of recently, that's changed. Now Treyarch, based in Santa Monica, is in charge of leading Call of Duty Black Ops 5 for 2020. Yeah, so although I don't know if they're implementing that, taking Black Ops back to the Cold War or shelving that whole Cold War idea, but I would like some change because I dip in they always get me every other year or whatever for Call of Duty games. So I would like a change in leaving the future tech behind. That's why I liked the World War II, Call of Duty World War II?
Sure.
That was really dope. I like
World at War?
No, so the last, it was like
do you mean Battlefield?
No, so Call of Duty did a World War II recently. Yeah, maybe
that's
2
right.
years ago.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was WW2, I think is how they shortened
Call
it.
of Duty
World War II.
WW2. That's right.
It was awesome.
I forgot about that game.
Yeah, fair. I just liked how it was kind of just bringing everything back to, less futuristic tech and vaulting and jumping around and running. It was just kind of a stripped down, but it was fun. And I liked the story was actually really cool. They put a lot of time and emphasis on the story, single player rather. But yeah. So I'd like them although everyone's kind of tiptoed around Vietnam as a place to set your game because it's so.
It wasn't a good war,
right?
We're not proud of that one.
Yeah, it's not very easy stuff to get into. But yeah, so we'll see how they handle that. They have this greediness to their games though, with how I want to say how Activision takes over with the Black Ops stuff. I actually think they did do a little bit of Vietnam in like the first or the second Black Ops. But I
think it was the first one.
Was it the first one?
Yeah.
So they're able to take these just really hard points in time, and as vague as they are, morally vague as they are, they're able to maneuver through that as much as you can and still have gameplay tied to it.
Yeah. Well, they work super closely with vets and stuff to keep everything
as you should, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're very good about that. That is one a series of games where those fans are just as happy as can be,
or they're not, and they hate the fact that they'll release every year or review very high. But
these people, they make these games exactly for these fans, and nobody else. And when there's a lot of them, so you can do that. But man, these fans love these games, and these developers they're very good. They've got a good relationship with their fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they do a good job every time. As far as we talked about Rage 2 and how sometimes the gunplay is wonky, or you have a cool open world, but then the gunplay sucks. But they seem to be consistent at everything they do every time they release. So I think that's why they review so well, is because it's top notch every time. And so whether you just don't or you have some kind of Call of Duty fatigue, I totally get that. But the gunplay is always on point, and maybe the online part is annoying, having to deal with playing with 13-year-olds. I'd get that too. But the single player is always strong.
Yeah.
The gunplay is always really, really fun. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. There is apparently there is an announcement there's a rumored announcement during E3. So we'll see if that actually shapes up. But yeah, which E3 is now 3 weeks away, Kevin?
It's getting well. Is it the beginning of July?
Of June.
It's in June.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so shit!
Yeah, so
we gotta start throwing down the prediction gauntlet here pretty soon.
Yeah, so June 11th. So what do we got? I don't know, 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks. So
that's
we'll
exciting.
See. Yeah, and we'll get as we get closer, we'll kind of figure out what we expect to see. And although, do you think we'll see anything alluding to the whole Sony Microsoft streaming thing they're developing?
No.
Yeah, is it way too early to talk about that?
Yeah, I think this is all paperwork.
Gotcha.
This is all paperwork.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
this is let's click on this rumor. Let's just go down and
Capcom will
find some clickbait. So this is from Game Rant. Rumor: Capcom will announce new game at Xbox E3 2019 press conference.
What game is that? Is that Dino Crisis?
I think you're right. Yeah. So.
Could we get a new Bionic Commando? I don't think anyone cares, but
you know what, that game for Switch reminds me a lot of that last Bionic Commando they put out. The Mecha.
Oh, the 2D Bionic Commando. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, especially when you're in the fort area. That's exactly what I was thinking with it. Which, those characters are all kind of like an homage to someone, depending on who you're picking.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let's see. What is a big?
A big Capcom game
property that they've just been sitting on. They've got so many properties.
Yeah, and to be announced at the Xbox conference, because I think what RE2 was shown off, the remake was shown off with the PS3 conference.
Yeah.
So are they trying to like deviate from that, or like for instance, Monster Hunter was shown off at the last PlayStation, the little like Nintendo Directs that they do.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be another Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
like that is their cash cow at this point. It does not stop, but there'll be another Monster Hunter. What? It's too soon for another.
Do you think they would show the next remake, the next ever Resident Evil, like the 3?
I think it's possible. I think it's very possible.
Because we're a year out, roughly. I mean, it's less than a year for sure since the last RE2 remake. But I do remember reading that right before that game launched, the RE2 remake, they were actively working on the next one, whatever that remake would be. So maybe a trailer or something.
Well, was it you that? I think it was you that was saying like, now that one's a success, it's a race to 4.
That's the thing. Yeah. So let's get 3 out of the way, which I'm sure it's going to be dope, but everyone is going to lose their minds when they show whatever trailer at whatever E3 event for the remake of RE2 or RE4. Yeah. That'd be nuts.
What?
But you're right, it is a race.
I would put money on something Street Fighter.
What about the next Resident Evil entry? Because 7 was maybe 2.5 years ago or something like that. So it's been a little while.
And it was, I mean, I saw the ending, like it's set up for a sequel.
Yeah, there's still stuff going on in that world.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That could happen.
God, people, that'll do so well. I'm glad that 7 was a solid Resident Evil game.
Yeah, that whole series really needed them kind of going back to it.
Yeah. I will definitely put money on Street Fighter though. Street Fighter, it's been a good minute since we got, like, I don't know what the last version was, maybe a turbo. I don't think it's going to be like a Street Fighter 6.
Gotcha.
But some sort of if it was a Street Fighter 6, I think people would lose their goddamn minds.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so 5 was the last one, so
5. I don't know if we have a turbo edition of Street Fighter 5.
So 2016 for 5, which
2016?
Yeah, was almost 3 years later. So
what editions do we have?
So good question. So we have Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is a 2018 compilation of 12 titles on arcade. Perfect.
12 titles. Street Fighter.
Yeah. Although those are HD kind of remakes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was 2016 for Street Fighter 5. In 2018, the game received a major update titled Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition.
Yep.
That might be it for.
It's time for Turbo.
There you go.
It is time for Turbo.
Yeah.
So.
Some of the other. So I pulled up the Game Rant article. Some of their other out of left field, predictions. Maybe a Dino Crisis reboot or Dead Rising. The last Dead Rising wasn't that long ago, but
Dead Rising.
Yeah, was it? I think it was just 4, maybe.
Dead Rising.
It's on the Xbox Game Pass thing. Yeah, so Dead Rising 4, 2016. So 2 years, 3 years.
What the hell is Dead Rising? What am I looking at?
Yeah, Dead Rising 4. Do you remember that? So that's the zombie, like where there's just tons of zombies on screen, and you get to run through them. Yeah. So 4 was them going like really back to that original format.
I think that'd be great for that Resident Evil engine. I bet that could pull it off.
That's the one thing I wasn't taking into account. Now, and we talked about it, can the RE2 engine, is that what they should lean on for something that's rendering all these different character models and stuff at once? Is it made for that, or can it handle that?
I don't think that would be. So the trickier part's going to be the open world aspect of a Dead Rising, because so what they do to render all those zombies is they use a trick called instancing, which allows you to render many versions of the same model. Albeit they do a good job of making these models all look kind of different.
Gotcha.
But to my knowledge, that trick, once you have it in, it's not that hard. And that's totally something that they could use in other Capcom titles. So why not get it in to the engine, make it work, and then you have all these options. You can make a Devil May Cry with twice the enemies. I think would be cool.
Yeah.
But look something up for me real quick. Is Power Stone Capcom? I want to say it is.
Gotcha. Power Stone Dreamcast.
That looks so Capcom.
I already see developer Capcom. Yeah. So I don't know if they still have this or.
I'm sure they do. I think now is like, and it's needed to make a comeback for a long time, but especially now with the huge rise of like Smash Bros is at its height, and this is like the kind of game that inspired Smash Bros, I think.
Okay.
Maybe not. I mean,
Yeah,
I know the kind of the story
influence
behind Smash Bros where they were trying to make it just a game that anyone can play. But I think now would be the perfect time to bring back Power Stone.
This one I've never actually seen footage of it. So it's like a 3D, just 3D style fighter, right?
Yeah, 3D style kind of Smash Bros game before Smash Bros was around. Which is funny because you look at how much better this looks. Well, I think this is Power Stone 1. Yeah. But yeah, it was Dreamcast. So like even though it came out before Smash Bros did, it looked that much better.
Gotcha.
I think it came out first. Yeah, so I think that would do super well in today's day and age. I don't know what you release it on. Is that a Switch title? Is that? I think that would be so fun on Switch.
Right?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Hope they do it.
Which I'm a huge supporter of everything on Switch.
Yeah.
I follow the Twitter account that's just like, let's see this on Switch and this game. Like, it's just that over and over again, like different titles that they dig up and say, you should do this on Switch.
And that's why it kind of sucks for like indie devs nowadays, because people like they come out with their game and they're like, it's gonna be on PC, and they're like, I'll buy it when it's on Switch. It's like, dude, I just worked so hard on this.
Now, is that because is it harder to develop for Switch, or it's just you have to make your decision early on?
It's just more effort, and also like the financials of releasing a game on a console can be kind of complicated, and like these all the paperwork aspect of it. You almost just need someone to work on that, but you're on an indie dev team, so you can't afford to have someone do it. You got to do it yourself. So it's just a lot of work.
It's also too, there's something that can be said for the marketplace on Switch, on their just the online marketplace. It's flooded with stuff every week. So it's like, how do you then get noticed? Yeah, you're on Switch. Good luck, because there's just tons of crap on there. And like, there's really good titles there, but it just gets bombarded by random stuff. And
they disappear so quickly. Like that SteamWorld game just released like this month, and it's already off the front of the store page. I'm like, the hell?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a battle on its own.
Yeah, maybe because it's $25. Like, I think people see that game and they're like, 25.
Kids, they go, oh, this isn't free.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a whole lot of free titles on there, but
this doesn't look like Fortnite.
Yeah. Yeah, Gavin. I mean, a lot of stuff happened this week.
Yeah.
As far as upcoming titles, so Team Sonic Racing comes out May 21st.
Is that? Are there any reviews for that? I hope it's good. Wasn't the last Sonic Team Racing supposed to be good?
I feel like that one does get some good reviews. Let's see. IGN did a review 3 days ago, and I'm gonna pull up the end.
I could go for a solid kart racer.
Yeah,
it's been I'm not like Mario Kart's oddly enough gotten really hardcore, so I can't.
8.5.
Or maybe it's just the people I play with. 8.5. That's damn solid. It looks pretty.
It's on PS4 Pro, Xbox, and Switch.
I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers.
Yeah. I love that saying, Gavin. Alrighty, Gavin. You know what? There was one title that I didn't realize released last week, but it's oh boy, now I'm blanking on it. It's a cool, like, story-driven, almost like Hellblade. Hellblade-esque.
Oh,
like Tales.
Plague Tale.
Plague Tales. Yeah.
Plague.
It looked really cool.
Tale. Yeah. I watched a teeny bit of someone playing it. It's got some production values on that son of a gun.
It seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, is it coming from another like small team, just like the Hellblade situation?
I think so. So there's a term that people are starting to throw around.
Studios.
I don't know if it's going to catch on, but I hope it does, which is like AAA.
Oh, with the indie space. Yeah, sure. I feel like I might have heard that, yeah.
This shit is, that's AAA.
Sean
Bean's in it?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm buying it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a CG intro.
Yeah. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I dig it's like, I think it's you like guiding like a small child through like some sort of plague-filled village. Like
gotcha.
That looks cool. It's getting good reviews.
So Destructoid gave it an 8.
Damn.
I want to see some footage of it.
Then there's the other game we mentioned before the cast that's coming out soon, which I'm super excited for. The Outer Wild or the Outer
Outer Worlds.
Is it Outer World? We're never going to keep those two
nope.
straight.
Let's just merge them into the one. Yeah, so the Outer Worlds.
Wait, I think Outer Worlds is the other one.
You're right. That's what I thought you were talking about.
So Outer Wilds is the one coming out. Yeah, I wish Outer Worlds was coming out at the end of this month. So Outer Wild, which is, and the devs wanted to make people sure that they understand that this game, despite the fact that it looks like a lot of procedurally generated games, there's nothing procedurally generated about this.
Okay. That's no longer a cool thing now, a buzzword. So now it's
you just want people to know that, like, hey, all this meticulously planned out shit was on purpose.
That's good.
So it's like a really intricate, large puzzle, and time resets after so many minutes or something. So sort of that Groundhog's Day. So you're trying to solve as much. It almost reminds me of it's like Myst meets Groundhog's World with like interplanetary travel.
Gotcha. There's a planet thing that I forgot about it too. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing it like at E3 or something. They were showing like the starting area and how like they set it up so like physics don't work like normal physics, and that has to be something like built into the engine from like a fundamental level where you can make physics not right.
Okay.
Or behave differently. So it looks super gorgeous. I think it's going to be great. I really hope it's great. I think it's going to be, it's pretty, it's visually interesting, and I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. So
Epic Game Store May 30th and also Xbox One.
Yeah.
Nice. Another exclusive for
end of this month. Ready for it.
And Pernia, I think they're a publisher that puts out a bunch of stuff. I want to say they did Donut County and Celeste possibly too.
Oh.
They're awesome.
Oh, that's right. They got the Hyperlight Drifter. They're making a new game. I wonder if that'll be revealed at
those same devs?
Yeah. I wonder if that'll be revealed at E3. I think that'd be a big get for somebody. Microsoft announces buying them.
Right.
I feel like that'll be a thing.
Yeah, do you think they'll is it too early? Because last year they were just like, we're buying this, buying that. Can we see the fruits of that labor, or is it just announcements, or hey, we're also buying this, and it's just more announcements?
Yeah, we see something. We're definitely going to see some Outer Wild, or Outer World.
Outer World, yeah.
Because they've clearly got it in like showing state when they showed off that 45 minutes of gameplay.
Of which title was it?
Outer World.
Right,
the Obsidian one.
Oh yeah, and that's where they talked about the weapon that makes your head.
The baton,
bigger,
that changes your head to random
animation?
size.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
I definitely like their take on like assist or VATS or what was it, where like your teammates could do like a pose or something, and then they do like a big badass move.
Okay.
I hope they do more. Like, did you watch the 45 minutes of footage?
I think I skimmed through it. Yeah.
I really like the fact that they're like, and we just want to show you that you can kill anyone. So like, you want to mess up your story, you can. Yeah. So they kept killing people, and it was. I think that was great. So I would like to definitely be playing through and accidentally kill an important person and try and continue with the story.
Right. Well, I'm hoping there's a prompt that says, just so you know that this thread of story is removed. Ooh. So you have the option like go back, but
everyone will remember that.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about the footage is the gunplay looks like some very 3D Bethesda jank.
This might be where that stuff carried over for sure.
Yeah.
But their strong suit I imagine is going to be the story for sure.
Yeah.
And the storylines, yeah.
Hopefully the gameplay is fun, but I am not super holding out. So I think it'll at least be interesting.
Right, for sure. And we're seeing some melee, combat during this, just this video of Outer Worlds. But I always liked and this isn't Bethesda, but I always liked with either Skyrim or Fallout. I liked the melee aspect to it. I feel like that's where I would rather prefer, to play during those games. The shooting wasn't as tight, but I liked the melee stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like they're carrying and focusing on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. We'll see an update during E3 2019.
That's probably my most excited, which is crazy too, considering wasn't this game announced at like I
think last year, right?
At like a Game Award or something?
Oh, Game Awards. Yeah, you're right.
God, that was on fire, those Game Awards. Mm-hmm. Like, can you imagine how nuts it's going to be this coming year? Like, everyone is expecting, like, expectations are super high. Jeff Keighley, man.
And now it's going to be everyone getting ready for next gen, so making those announcements for next gen. Yeah.
I would love for him for the next Game Awards to like fully eat that old joke and ride out on the stage on a throne of Mountain Dew and Doritos.
That could be awesome.
I think the crowd would go ape shit.
wanted to see. Yeah, so it was publicly announced at Game Awards 2018 in December. So yeah, we'll see.
Ooh, I think that's something we could definitely see for E3 is Hello World's or Hello Games new little game with the cute little guys.
Oh yeah. I forget the name of that one. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, no clue.
Hello Games, and that reminded me of for some reason the team from Firewatch. Do you remember that? It was almost like a walking simulator with
they're working on some sort of archaeological.
Yeah, it's like an Egyptian flair to it. You're set in like the 1920s or something, and there's maybe something supernatural going on. But so The Last Campfire, that was also announced at that same Game Awards 2018.
That's what it was. The Last Campfire.
Yeah.
Looks super cute.
Yeah. Yep, that's really a game.
And that's been running for...
Yeah. Now it's just audio of Mortal Kombat behind us. No, it should be separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Nice.
Anything to plug or anything going on for you this week?
Not this week.
Crazy? No? Okay. Yeah, so let's end it there. Gavin, where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Drunk Devs on Twitter.
Awesome. And I'm Fonzie Pants on Twitter as well, and really every other handle. Alrighty, guys. This has been Plastic Hearts Podcast. We'll see you. Bye-bye.